The story begins with Lee Hyun, the protagonist, stumbling upon an advertisement for a captivating new VR game Royal Road. Despite his intrigue, he dismisses it, convinced that gaming holds no promise of financial gain. His struggles with finances weigh heavily on him, compounded by the responsibility of caring for his ailing grandmother. Seeking to reassure her, he presents a card promising to secure a better job now that he's of age. He soothes her concerns regarding his sister Hyun, confident in her safety. Turning to his solace, Lee Hyun immerses himself in the virtual realm of Continent of Magic on his computer, where his character Weed resides. Contemplating his limited time for gaming amidst impending job pursuits, he entertains the notion of selling weed, unaware of the fervor his max-level warrior with rare items would ignite among hardcore players. Unwittingly, he sets weed up for auction, oblivious to the storm his decision would brew. Meanwhile, within the corridors of the Continent of Magic headquarters, the chief catches wind of the auction, recognizing its potential as a marketing coup. Capitalizing on the buzz surrounding Lee Hyun's character, the chief orchestrates a campaign to fuel bidding wars, leveraging the event as a prime opportunity to bolster the game's allure. As news of the auction spreads, influential figures are drawn into the fray, escalating the competition to unprecedented heights. Lee Hyun threatened to involve the police, but the loan shark stayed calm. Only when the boss told the loan shark to explain did things start to make sense. The loan shark said the interest rate was 50% per year, with additional yearly fees that made the debt much bigger. Lee Hyun asked what would happen if he didn't pay. The loan shark ominously hinted that if he didn't comply, the interest would keep adding up. Also, he subtly threatened Lee Hyun's sister Hyun, who had just arrived, using her to pressure Lee Hyun. Feeling trapped, Lee Hyun reluctantly agreed to pay the 3 billion won to end their troublesome relationship, but warned the loan shark not to hurt his family again. The loan shark gave him an IU and 90 million won in change, and then they left. But Lee Hyun stopped them and promised to repay all the trouble they caused his family one day. With his debts cleared, the boss of the loan shark group, Hanji, approached Lee Hyun with a proposition. He suggested that if Lee Hyun could make 3 billion won in 5 years, Hanji would work for him. After dealing with the loan sharks, Lee Hyun wondered if he could really make that much money in 5 years. The next day, Lee Hyun gets a call from the secretary of CTS Media informing him that the final bid had been deposited into his account. Initially, Lee Hyun thought the amount would be around 300,000 won, but to his astonishment, secretary revealed that he had received a staggering 3,190 million won. At first, Lee Hyun thought it might be a prank, but when he checked his computer and verified the amount, he was shocked. Immediately, he began thinking about how he could use the money, particularly for the well-being of his grandmother and sister. He took his grandmother to the hospital, assuring her that they could afford her treatment with the 3,090 million won they now had. However, their relief was short-lived, as loan sharks who had previously intimidated them regarding debt repayment suddenly arrived. A loan shark confronted Lee Hyun, demanding repayment for the money borrowed by his father. The loan shark taunted Lee Hyun, asking if he was prepared to settle the debt. Lee Hyun, wanting to resolve the issue, inquired about the amount owed, expecting it to be around 100 million won. However, the loan shark shockingly claimed the debt was 3 billion won, justifying it with 8 years passing and the accumulation of interest and fees. Transitioning to a superior abode, he and his family embarked on a new chapter of their lives, marked by promise and opportunity. Rising at the break of dawn, precisely at 5 o'clock, he commenced his day with a rigorous exercise regimen, persistently engaging in brisk runs to invigorate his body and mind. By 8 o'clock, post-workout, he savored a hearty breakfast, fortifying himself for the challenges that lay ahead. In tandem with his physical training, he embarked on a disciplined routine of martial arts practice, instilling in himself the ethos of preparedness and seizing opportunities when they arise. He reiterated to himself the importance of readiness, knowing that success favors the vigilant and prepared. Dismissing the notion of games as mere frivolity, he fully immersed himself in the intricacies of the VR game Royal Road. Lee Hyun dedicated an entire year to meticulous preparation for the trials that awaited him, steadfastly focusing on sculpting a prosperous future. His relentless efforts bore fruit when, during a swift morning jog, he deftly avoided an oncoming vehicle, a testament to his honed reflexes and unwavering determination. The following day brought forth an unexpected boon, as Lee Hyun was bestowed with a coveted capsule granting access to the VR game Royal Road, albeit at a hefty price tag of 10 million won. Undeterred by the cost, he eagerly entered the capsule, initiating the game and assuming the persona of Weed, a human character in the sprawling Razan kingdom with Esbor Castle as his chosen starting point. With each step into the boundless expanse of the virtual realm, Lee Hyun embraced the challenges and adventures that awaited him, poised to carve his own destiny in this fantastical world. His lack of experience quickly became apparent, drawing the gaze of seasoned players who identified him as a newcomer. Undeterred, Lee Hyun made the decision to journey to the basic training center within Royal Road, convinced it represented the optimal venue for bolstering his fundamental attributes prior to engaging in quests. He reasoned that establishing a sturdy groundwork from the outset would furnish him with a strategic advantage in the long haul. However, upon arrival he encountered disillusioned players departing the center, decrying it as a futile endeavor. One player by the moniker of Pluto elucidated that while augmenting stats at the basic training center yielded benefits over time, it exacted a toll both physically and ethically. Participants were obliged to relentlessly pummel a scarecrow for extended durations sans reprieve merely to eke out marginal enhancements in their prowess. Drawing an analogy to physical exercise, Pluto acknowledged the simplicity of the concept but underscored the formidable execution which posed a formidable challenge for the majority. Despite the skepticism pervading the atmosphere, Lee Hyun remained resolute and proffered a wager. He posited that if he could amass one stat point every Decadian interval, then dedicating 20 hours per diem over the ensuing 20 days would yield a cumulative enhancement of 40 points across his stats. Although Pluto rebuffed Lee Hyun's proposition, he extended an olive branch in the form of barley bread, stressing the criticality of managing hunger within the game. Grateful for the gesture, Lee Hyun commenced his arduous grind by assailing scarecrows. Initially finding solace in the rhythmic cadence of his strikes, his spirits gradually waned as the pace of progress crawled to a frustrating crawl. Wrestling with inner turmoil, Lee Hyun pondered the wisdom of persisting in his current course of action. Suddenly his olfactory senses were assailed by the aroma of a delectable feast emanating from the direction of the instructor. Drawing closer, Lee Hyun found himself sharing a meal with the instructor, who broached the topic of sculpting. Initially perplexed by the inquiry, Lee Hyun swiftly discerned it as a potential quest fraught with promises of lucrative rewards. After a brief moment of contemplation, he resolutely articulated his unwavering dedication to the art of swordsmanship, adamantly brushing aside any notion of diverting his focus towards sculpting. He couldn't conceal his disappointment at the mere suggestion of it by the instructor. Nevertheless, the instructor lauded Lee Hyun's steadfast commitment to mastering the sword. Lee Hyun, perplexed by the instructor's curiosity about sculpting, probed further, prompting the instructor to divulge a tantalizing rumor about a legendary sculptor rumored to possess the skill to carve the ethereal beauty of moonlight itself. Though Lee Hyun remained skeptical, the instructor's revelation about Castle Knight Melon's endorsement piqued his interest. Convinced of Lee Hyun's capabilities, the instructor entrusted him with the task of unraveling this enigmatic rumor. Confident in his prowess, Lee Hyun, recognizing the quest's seemingly low difficulty, eagerly embraced the challenge, noting its potential for lucrative rewards. Grateful for the instructor's faith, he embarked on his journey armed with 2 silver coins to alleviate any concerns regarding sustenance. Venturing into a nearby shop, Lee Hyun was initially met with indifference from the shopkeeper. However, through genuine admiration for the shop's wares, he managed to sway the shopkeeper's demeanor. Inquiring about the Moonlight sculpting legend, he recounted whispers of its existence, tracing its origins back to the royal house's purported sculpting feat half a century prior. Confirming it as a revered tale among artisans, the shopkeeper acknowledged hearing whispers about it from esteemed guests of the royal court. With this newfound knowledge, Lee Hyun prepared to depart, but the shopkeeper halted him, expressing a fervent desire for further investigation into the mysterious sculpting technique shrouded in secrecy by the reticence of royal associates. Contemplating the gravity of the quest, Lee Hyun acknowledged its potential for substantial rewards, albeit recognizing the increasing challenges it might entail beyond his current capabilities. Fully aware of his limitations, he acknowledged his role as an information gatherer for the time being. Despite his lingering doubts, the shopkeeper's reassurance emboldened him to accept the quest, albeit cautiously. As he continued his journey, Lee Hyun's path eventually crossed with the handmaiden of Queen Elaine, marking the next chapter in his quest for the truth behind the Moonlight sculpting legend. The handmaiden hesitated to disclose information about the Moonlight sculptors. It was a tale associated with the queen. Observing her reluctance, Lee Hyun kindly offered her a massage and decided to enhance his relationship with her in the hopes of gaining her trust and learning more about the Moonlight sculpture. The handmaiden inquired about Lee Hyun's views on sculpting. Lee Hyun expressed that he wasn't particularly intrigued by sculpting and had never harbored a desire to learn it. The handmaiden, content with Lee Hyun's replies, invited him to sit and began to divulge information. She confessed to harboring suspicions about him initially, uncertain if he was dispatched by the royal court. Lee Hyun mentioned hearing rumors that the royal court was actively suppressing discussions about the Moonlight Sculptor. The handmaiden praised Lee Hyun's massaging skills and observed his compassionate nature and politeness. She elucidated that a spy would likely attempt to praise the art of sculpting to extract information, but Lee Hyun's conduct suggested otherwise. Lee Hyun affirmed that he wasn't a spy. The handmaiden commenced narrating the tale of the renowned sculptor Jave and the queen who held him dear, Elaine. In their youth, they resided in the same village and fostered profound affection for one another. Queen Elaine cherished a sculpture crafted by Jave, keeping it close to her heart and nurturing the belief that they would eventually wed. However, destiny took an unforeseen twist when she ascended to the throne, a circumstance Jave could not alter. They made a pact. Jave pledged to carve the most exquisite creation in the world for her. Years elapsed, and Queen Elaine never relinquished this vow, eagerly awaiting its fulfillment. One day, Jave returned, yet he approached not with a sculptor's tool, but with a sword. He had metamorphosed from a sculptor into a swordsman. Queen Elaine expressed her dismay at Jave's transformation and questioned if he had forsaken their promise, a promise that held immeasurable significance to her. She had prayed and hoped for his steadfastness to their vow amidst the changing world. However, in the depths of Queen Elaine's despair, assailants from another land emerged. Jave, now a swordsman, perceived this as an opportunity to honor his promise to her. He confronted the assailants and showcased his extraordinary prowess, causing the moonlight to fracture with each swing of his blade. He continued to sculpt the moonlight and sang a melody, the sculptor's heart. Ultimately, the assailants were vanquished, and Jave fulfilled his promise to Queen Elaine. Many years had elapsed since that event, yet the handmaiden vividly recalled the remarkable spectacle she had witnessed that night. The quest was accomplished, and Lee Hyun advanced 2 levels. Moreover, a message materialized, offering him the chance to ascend to the covert profession of Moonlight Sculptor. I hope you're enjoying what you've seen so far. If you found value in today's content and want to be part of our growing community, do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe. Your support means the world to us, and it's what keeps this channel alive and kicking. Plus, don't forget to turn on notifications so you won't miss out on any of the exciting stuff we have in our channel. Take care.